Hi everyone, and welcome to this webinar about content marketing for retailers. My name is Tammy Quo, the Digital Marketing Exec at Retail NZ. Here I'll introduce you to the world of content marketing and how to attract customers to your website. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into your questions section. Oh, okay. Testing. Hello? Testing. Sorry, it seems like we're having some technical issues. Oh, and we are on. Awesome. Okay, cool. Sorry about that, guys. And now you can hear me, so the show must go on. Hello, and welcome to this webinar about content marketing for retailers. My name's Tammy Quo, and I'm the Digital Marketing Exec at Retail NZ. Here I'll introduce you to the world of content marketing and how to attract customers to your website. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the questions section at any time, and I'll answer them at the end of the webinar. So a Kiwi marketing agency called Wrestler had wrote a blog with this statement: "Don't tell a great story, be a great story." So what's your story? Once you know what your great story is, how do you communicate this to your customers? So this webinar is the final of 3 parts. In part 1, I ran through how to get your SEO tool set up and conduct keyword research. In part 2, I showed you the basics of technical SEO for your website. Now I'll walk you through how to attract customers to your website via content marketing. And this will all contribute to the end goal of raising your web page's Google rankings, which will increase your exposure to customers and increase your sales potential. So SEO marketing is the science and the art of getting your website to the top of the Google search results rankings. So for example, here, Cotton On and North Beach NZ are winning for customers looking for togs. With good content, your customers are more likely to find your website via Google. So when you're doing a casual search for something you're looking to buy right now, it's unlikely that you'll click beyond that first search results page. And on this graph, we can see where the second page begins with the dotted line. As you can see, there's a massive drop off from the second page. To get your page going, be sure to have a lot of links going to your website. Have a think. Who are your collaborators? Who are your suppliers? Who are your most prominent customers? You can lean into your connections and ask them to link to your website. A friend of mine makes and sells earrings through a local vintage store called Thrift. So when fresh stock was coming in, both Thrift and my friend were featuring each other on their digital channels. So if you're not featured as a distributor on your supplier's website and their social channels, be sure to ask. Also, it's important to know who your competitors are. Follow them on social media, observe and analyze their activity, look for any guest spots and shout outs that they might feature in. Look at what stories they're telling. This can inspire ideas or allow you to understand what's out there so that you can decide your point of difference, what makes you special. You can also look for opportunities by following relevant hashtags on social media and following mentions of your competitors. And also just following general trends in the news that are relevant to your business. You can also join like-minded Facebook or LinkedIn groups like the Facebook group Love Local Wellington. You could even do product collaborations with businesses in your network. So in October 2020, Karen Walker and Wellington Chocolate Factory collaborated to bring out a coconut and passion fruit bar to celebrate a fusion of fashion, craft, and distinctly Kiwi ingredients. Also, there were 2 golden tickets hidden in just 2 of these chocolate bars, and whoever found these tickets would receive a gold Karen Walker necklace. So Wellington Chocolate Factory completely sold out of their stock for this particular flavour, and here we can see how this drives sales for Wellington Chocolate Factory. And Karen Walker's brand is exposed to the Wellington Chocolate Factory customer base. Win-win. So equally, Wellington Chocolate Factory's brand is exposed to Karen Walker's audience. Here we can see the product being featured on Karen Walker's Instagram. They're both working together to spread the word and drive traffic to each other's audience base. So being featured in someone else's digital channel is a great way to get your story out there. Have a think about what you do for your customers. Explore how you expand their shopping experience beyond just making a purchase. The Christmas Hut in Christchurch engages with their customers brilliantly. They ran workshops in store on how to decorate a tree, how to create a wreath, and they collaborated with us to tell their story. So you can see we've featured them on our blog here, and your business is sure to have a spark that's story-worthy. So figure out what that is, how to make it happen, and then tell that story. So doing a brand launch with your supplier is another great way to cross-promote. Beauty Bliss, a local cosmetics store, threw a launch party in their store. So Kiwi beauty blogger Shannon Harris hung out at the store for an afternoon where hordes of customers came in to meet her and to check out her new line of eyeshadows being stocked by Beauty Bliss. So events are a great way to excite your customers, and you can celebrate when new stock comes in and always point back to your website. On Instagram, this can easily be done by telling your audience to go to your link in bio. By checking out what works for your competition is also a great way to stay top of your game. So through your Facebook page, you can see your competition's top posts by going into your page insights, and then in the post section, you can go to add pages to the list of pages to watch. Facebook will then show you the top posts of the week from these pages. By top posts, Facebook is showing content that's getting the highest engagement. So the posts with the most reactions, likes, shares, comments. Over on Instagram and LinkedIn, you can follow certain hashtags. So hashtags like hashtag NZMade or hashtag Made in NZ are pretty popular. And you can also monitor your locational hashtags. For example, hashtag Auckland NZ. If you're a clothing store, following hashtag NZMadeFashion would show you content that fellow fashion businesses are putting out. And if it's in your budget, you can also use media monitoring tools like Hootsuite. So marketing is about understanding and communicating. So really knowing who your customers are. After this webinar, make a mind map of your customers. If your target market was an individual person, who is this person? What motivates them? What makes them curious? So customer research can come in all different forms. When you're chatting with your customers in store, really listen to them. You and your team are on the front line, and you can get real insight on what your customers want. So never underestimate the value of a good conversation. You can also engage with your customers via social media, and from your website, you can get valuable data insights. So I touch on how to look at your customers' behavior from your website data in part 1 of this webinar series. So by understanding your customers, you can help them feel the value that they're getting from your products. So for example, if you're a furniture store, you could create an article on how to create really good indoor-outdoor flow, or if you're selling leather furniture, you could show them how to care for the leather so that it can go the distance. And if you sell leather conditioner, it's a great chance to let your customers know. So a few months ago, I attended a webinar by Massey University and Putty, which is a company that makes apps. So they showed this piece of research by Colmer Brunton, which is a market research company. And when asked how businesses could make you feel better about your shopping choices, a lot of Kiwis said the same thing. We want to stop outsourcing to sweatshops. We want to use more sustainable packaging. We want local ingredients, and we want better quality products that last longer. So by understanding what your customers' top values are, you can get a better idea of how to not just tell a great story, but be a great story. Now, aside from your customers' values, it's also really important to know their current habits. So which platforms do they frequent? Is your customer a teenager on TikTok, or are they a family woman on Facebook? And where do they shop? You can stay top of mind by focusing on your channels that have the best engagement. One great way to stay top of mind is to add value and create unique, interesting, and relevant content. So here's an example from Global Baby, who's an Auckland children's store. So with how to choose a stroller, this article helps customers make an informed purchasing decision. Global Baby regularly publishes blogs for their customers. Their website's full of helpful guides and beautiful inspiration. So by helping your customer with their purchasing decision, you're saving them time and you're giving yourself opportunities to show your best products. Also, be sure to include Facebook and Instagram share buttons so that your audience can share your content to their friends. And remember, beautiful photography and videos go a long way. So here we can see that Mitre 10 has a whole section on their website dedicated on how-to guides and inspiration. They also encourage engagement from their customers by asking them to post makeover photos onto their Facebook page. So be a source of inspiration, encourage your customers to tell their stories and for them to be a part of your story too. So here Mitre 10 collaborates with their customers by being a part of their entire kitchen renovation journey. They've got before and after pictures, they've got video, they've got a blurb full of keywords like modern and renovation. So be sure to add meta descriptions to the media on your website, which I touch on how to do in the second SEO webinar. So Kiwi men's store Rembrandt has brought out a shirt care guide, and this adds value to their customers' purchase by helping them care for their wardrobe. It's also key to put your story into context. So Bivouac Outdoors makes gorgeous videos, giving their customers a taste of the products in context. So being a great story is not just about the narrative of who and what and how, but also the way your brand makes your customers feel. So be intentional with the emotions that you want your customers to experience when they're getting a taste of your story. Do you want to inspire them? Do you want to pique their curiosity? Do you want to motivate them? Do you want them to be nostalgic for a bygone era? Do you want them to be excited for the future? Be clear about the essence and the intent of your story. So with Shopify, you can turn on your social sharing by going to online store and then themes, and then in customize, you can navigate to the product pages, and then there you can turn on sharing for products. So you can let your customers tell your story or the products that might help tell your story as well. So other e-commerce platforms will have similar options, and if not, there are plugins that you can use like Social Warfare. So for product pages, titles should be short and to the point. Product descriptions, however, can be more original and unique. So with your individual product pages, it's a space to express your brand voice. Also, Google rewards pages with original content, so make sure that you're not just copying and pasting your supplier's product blurbs. Write descriptions that are specifically for your customers. For example, here we've got Cranfields, which is a gift store in Wellington, and they have a description for their blunt umbrellas that's very specific to windy Wellington. It says, designed in New Zealand, these umbrellas are built to last, even through the most testing Wellington weather. It's also vital to make it super salient that you're local. So shoppers are now becoming wary of e-commerce stores that look local but are actually shipping from overseas, and they have a really long shipping time. So as a local shop, play to your strengths. Specify where you are, where you ship to, and how long it takes for your products to arrive. You may have heard that there's a recommended maximum or minimum word count for web pages, but it's important to not get too caught up with these parameters and just write for your audience, or make content for your audience. So John Mueller, who works at Google, debunks the word count theory with this tweet. Having the same word count as a top ranking article isn't going to make your pages rank first, just like having a bunch of USB chargers isn't going to get you to the moon, but I'm still tempted to buy some of those USB chargers. So just write articles that work for your target customers and don't worry too much about the precise word count. So making content for your customers is really important, but it's also important to elevate your customer's voice. That's where customer reviews are gold. Shoppers often look at fellow shoppers' reviews before making a decision, so featuring reviews on your product page is a really great way to build trust. And this trust will lead to traction for your e-commerce website. Here we have Mighty Ape, who has got a couple of glowing reviews for their 5th edition of the board game Catan. David here has said, "The greatest game I have ever played, revolutionized my evening, social life, and in general, my lifestyle." So this is a stellar review and can raise sales potential by quite a bit. And oh, just by the way, I love Catan. It's a great game, but I don't know if it's the greatest. I personally prefer Pictionary or Articulate. Anyway, so it's easy to make it's easy to encourage your customers to give you reviews, and there's apps for most e-commerce platforms like Shopify to allow your customers to give you reviews. And don't be afraid to get a bad review. It's all part of understanding your customers and becoming a better business. And people trust authentic, raw feedback. And of course, another great way to drive traffic to your website is to harness your social media channels. So Google rewards websites that get a lot of traffic, and Google rewards websites that also get a lot of people staying on the website for long sessions. So anything that increases the amount of time people are on your website contributes to your SEO power. Here are a few quick actions that you can start with. So describe your target market. Who is your customer? And once you have a clear picture of that, be sure to share this with your team so that everyone's on the same page and so that everyone has a good understanding. Encourage reviews from your customers. So you can ask for reviews in store and on social media, and make it easy for people to review you. You can also post on social media the content on your website. And if you don't have content yet, don't worry, you can just share a product page with a compelling status update. You could also reach out to your network and spark collaboration and share each other's content. Cool. Now let's see if we have any questions. Awesome. Thanks, Julian, with the question. How do you know what is most relevant for my customers? Thanks, Julian. So there are several ways to do customer research, which I touch on in the first and second parts of this webinar. You could, as mentioned earlier, have a conversation with your customers. You can also observe your customers' behavior via your Google Analytics, so seeing which web pages your customers frequent the most. And I think Shopify also has analytics that you can access to see, you know, which product pages that they're accessing the most. And just listening as well. So I think half of being on social media, if not 80% of being on social media, is a great way to listen to your customers. So 20% will be putting content out to your customers and 80% seeing how they respond to it. Yeah. And from there, you can get a really good gauge of what your customers are interested in, both instinctively and through data insights. So iterating and improving on what you put out there as well, based on what kind of data you get from your customers. Cool. And I think that is us for today. So thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy retail days to come learn about content marketing. My name is Tammy, and you can reach me directly through marketing@retail.kiwi. And I hope you found this helpful for your future content marketing endeavors, and have a great week.